In today's video, we're going to walk you through how to transition your organization in JumboLife. Every year, the Office for Campus Life requires that student organizations re-register with the office to provide updated contact information, sign the annual anti-hazing policy, the fundraising policy, update their reserve Tufts contact, and make any necessary changes to their organization page on JumboLife. This is separate from the TCUJ annual re-recognition process. If your organization has selected that your officers transition mid-year, they'll receive an email in December to complete the organization transition during the semester break. If your organization has selected that your officers transition in the spring, summer, or fall, you will receive an email in early May or late April asking you to transition with a deadline set to mid-August. These notifications will go to all members of your organization who are listed as an officer or committee chair in your JumboLife roster. Because the JumboLife organization transition form can only be completed once, it is important that you wait until you have your fully updated leadership roster before completing your transition form. Any members that are removed from your roster will automatically lose their admin access, so don't complete your transition form until you know that your current members no longer need to have access. Any members that are added will also be automatically granted access. As a reminder, automatic admin access only occurs during the annual transition process, so it's important that you add all your officers to the roster in your transition form. You can always return to add additional officers or members to your roster at a later date, but any newly added officers will not automatically receive admin access. When you receive the notification from the Office for Campus Life, there will be a button in the email to go in and complete your transition. The email will come from hello@presence.io. However, the easiest way to complete your transition will be to head over to jumbolife.tufts.edu/admin. You will be prompted to log in using your Tufts single sign-on, and you will be taken to the admin dashboard. Because the transition form is completed on the admin dashboard, only current officers with admin access will be able to complete the transition form. To access the transition form, select Organizations from the left menu. Once on the Organizations page, as long as your organization is in transition, you'll see your organization has this blue In Transition icon next to the title. To complete the transition form, click the three dots on the far right of the row and select Transition. This will pull up the JumboLife organization registration form that's pre-populated with all of the information that you have previously entered in JumboLife. You'll want to go through and update each item as necessary, as the information entered on this form is what populates your public event page on the JumboLife student portal. Certain fields will not be editable, such as the title of your organization, but you can update your categories, description, meeting times, and website or social media information. Next, you can update information on how to get involved with your organization, such as adding in your application materials, GIM information, or any other details you have. You can always return to make changes at a later date. You are welcome to change your cover photo, but as a reminder, the cover photo should not have text or logos on it. The additional information section is fully customizable, including an HTML editor, so this is a great space for you to add any other additional information you may want to include on your public event page. Some items people have included here are promotional videos, a button to sign up for the organization's e-list, highlights from past events, etc. JumboLife is used heavily by incoming students and first years, so the more information you can provide to promote your organization, the better. As always, you can return to edit this information at any time. The first critical piece of information you'll want to update in this transition form is your primary and secondary contact. These are the contacts that the Office for Campus Life will use to reach out to your organization, as well as include in the monthly student organization memos that are sent throughout the academic year. Typically, we see organizations list their president and vice president, or their president and their secretary, as the primary and secondary contact. In these email fields, you're required to enter a valid tufts.edu student email. If you have an organization email, you can enter it below underneath the Organization Operations section. Next, you can continue through the organization registration form, updating each field as necessary to reflect your plans for the coming year, including fundraising information, anniversary celebrations, and more. Please read each question thoroughly. For the Reserve Tufts room reservation system access, it's important to enter the name of the one student who will be delegated space reservation access for your organization. This student will be granted access to reserved spaces on behalf of the organization beginning in late August. In addition, each year, student organization contacts must read and sign the fundraising policy and anti-hazing policy. In order to re-sign and agree to the anti-hazing and fundraising policies, you must first click Clear to clear out your old officer's signature and sign yourself for the new academic year. The second most critical part of the transition form is updating your student organization roster. As a reminder, the only time that students are automatically granted admin access to your organization is during the annual transition process. Any individual who is listed as an officer, such as president, vice president, secretary, or treasurer, or as a committee chair, will be granted admin access on JumboLife, meaning they can edit your organization, add members to your roster, and submit event registration forms. While officers and committee chairs can only be added with automatic admin access granted during the transition process, you can always return to add additional members or officers without admin access throughout the year. When your organization is in transition, you'll have this toolbar on the far right of your roster that allows you to remove members who graduated or have left the organization, including removing their admin access by changing them from active to former. If you have members in your roster who have changed positions or who were a general member and are now in an admin role, you can simply use the drop-down menu under the membership column to update their position. To add new members, you can click the Add Member button and a new row will be added to the very end of your roster. You can enter in the new member's name, Tufts email, and position. We understand that many organizations have specific titles for their officers, but JumboLife is limited to these 5 categories, and we ask that you select the position that best aligns with their role. You can have more than one of each officer position, so if you have 2 executive coordinators, for example, you can mark them both as president. For other officer roles like a philanthropy chair, DEI chair, or recruitment chair, you can always enter them as a committee chair, which will also grant them admin access as an officer, but is our most generic officer type. Last but not least, if you have a faculty or staff advisor, you can add their contact information here to let the Office for Campus Life know that they should also receive information about your organization or can complete paperwork on your behalf. When the form is complete, you can scroll back up to the top and select Submit for approval. This will send the information to the Office for Campus Life. Once the form is approved, your page will be updated and you will be all set. You can always return to the form to make any necessary changes later on, but again, any new officers added to your roster at a later time will not be automatically granted admin access. If you need to add new officers with admin access at a later time, you can email jumbolife@tufts.edu. As always, if you have any questions or need additional support, please email jumbolife@tufts.edu.